Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSagear. We've got the brand new XP pistol from First Strike. It's kind of like the next version of the FSC, the latest and the greatest from First Strike when it comes to pistols. Let's get it open and let's look at it. I also have an FSC up here so that we can compare it, just so you can see the differences between the new version and what we had before. So box right here just shows our pistol. Talks about some of the features that are on it, you know, our barrel. It's all pretty much the same from the outside. You're going to notice some differences when you look at it from the outside, especially when we have the FSC next to it to compare. But that's what our gun's going to look like right there. So let's go ahead and open it up. So inside here, you're going to get like a little quick start guide. Gives you the basics on how to get started with your marker. We've got an extra magazine. And you can see right away that there's something different about this magazine. If you know how the FSC magazines look. 2 springs that are in here. These are your First Strike projectile springs. If you're going to be shooting 68 caliber round ball, you're going to use the spring that comes inside of it. If you're going to switch to First Strike rounds, you want to put this spring inside here, and it's marked with red on the bottom of it. And this is for First Strike projectiles. It's a harder, stiffer spring. And then here's our pistol. So we're going to move that over here, our extra magazine, and then I'll show you how to change out the springs. And then we have just a little parts kit right there. A couple O-rings, a couple Allen keys, stuff you might need right there. All right, so let's put this to the side. And then let's get out FSC. You can see the FSC came with the springs as well, came with an extra magazine. So you're getting parts like you were before. The parts are just different now. Let's get all right. Put that to the side. Here we go. Magazines, guns, side by side. So let's start with the obvious difference right here, the magazines. So the gun now, the new XP, the magazine still slides up in the same thing, still holds the same amount of either First Strike or paintballs, but the new style magazine does not have the CO2 canister attached to it or integrated into it. The CO2 canister now slides up in through a twist bottom and sits inside the gun. It no longer is part of the magazine, which we saw on the original one, on the FSC here. 12 gram fit inside the magazine here. And then every time you put it in or out, it would slightly degas. So you would lose some CO2 every time you needed to pop the magazine out to then stack more paintballs or First Strike rounds into it and then put it back in, charge up the system. So you were wasting CO2 in and out, in and out, to make this gun function properly. They've gotten rid of that idea and gone with straight into the gun, ready to go. And the second difference between that is the new XP is running on a 12 gram CO2 like this, rather than an 8 gram CO2, which is what the original FSC used. So your difference in sizing right there between the two equates to more shots. When I was playing around with this outside and downstairs, I was getting about 3 magazines worth of shots, so about 18 shots or so from the 12 gram, which I think on the 8 gram, I was only getting maybe like 2 magazines barely, because, you know, remember, each time you take that mag in and out, you got to lose CO2, and that's a big loss right there when you're going through stuff. So big difference. Those are the huge differences right there from the old to the new setup. You got larger capacity because you have a larger tank going inside of there, and you're not wasting or losing CO2 every time you drop the magazine out of the gun to refill it or switch to a different mag. Putting that in there, 12 gram goes up inside. This just screws in, And then we have a puncture pin at the bottom right here, or a slam pin. You're gonna hit this or hit it against the table or whatever. That's gonna puncture the pin in the CO2, and you're ready to start going right there. We can take our magazine out. We don't lose any gas. Magazine goes back in, safety turns off, and you're ready to go. Mag comes out, mag goes in, you're ready to go. Very, very simple. Once you get down to the end, you've shot all the way through it. There's still gonna be a little bit of CO2 in the system, but not enough to cycle the marker. There's a little pin on the bottom. You can just push that pin. It'll degas the rest of the marker, unscrew it, take it off. You're ready to go. All right, so that's the major differences right there for the outside, or I shouldn't say the outside, for the internal workings of the gun. The regulator system right here, where you would adjust velocity, is the same between the two. The bolt system is the same between the two. One of the differences that we do get, and I'm going to shoot this out real quick. You get quite a few shots. Let me take this out. And that just comes out like that. The bolt, or the barrel length, is slightly different from what I hear. I'm going to move that over there and move this over here. So with the magazine out, the barrel is going to come out the same way as the FSC. You push it in. You can see it's on a spring right there. You push in, rotate, and then the barrel is going to pop out. So we've got a length in difference, a difference in length between the two barrels right there. This allows us to generate the same velocity, that 300 feet per second, 280 feet per second, but do it at a slightly lower pressure because our barrel length is a little bit longer. Any other barrel that was designed for the FSC is compatible with the XP. So I think there's like an 8-inch and an 11-inch rifled barrel if you're shooting First Strike stuff out of it. It's all compatible with the XP. So anything besides the magazines that worked for the FSC will work on the XP. All of the adapters that go onto the back of the marker here, the ASAs, the drops, anything that can, the remote line setups that worked on the FSC will work on the XP as well. So any of those accessories and any of the barrels we talked about. The top is different. You can see we have a slightly longer breech, obviously, or a upper assembly. What do you call it? I don't know what you want to call it. I guess the body up there. It's not really a slide because it doesn't move back and forth. So the upper section of the gun is different. It's longer. It has the cuts that you see along the top right there. And it has an integrated mount for a sight. So the RMR style footprint, which mounts directly to a slide on a marker, is on here. We would remove these two screws out. This plate right here will come off, and then the RMR style optic, whatever you have, will drop right on and bolt right in. So you have a very secure setup without having to, put it on a rail or buy a rail adapter and put it on there. It is integrated into the top of the marker, so you are ready to go. And it also does have some of those like day glow neon sights on it. So that makes it a little bit easier if you want to do it that way. If you don't want to put an optic on there. And then you do have a rail on the bottom, just like before. It is a little bit longer, which is nice. So it gives you more space to mount things, because not all rail mounts are the same length. Some are wider, some are shorter. So this gives you just a wider footprint to mount a laser or a flashlight or whatever you want to stick on the underside of the XP. Let's put this back in. Oh, and it does use the same detents as the FSC. So the traditional First Strike style detent, it's the same for that. Let's go ahead and put this in here. If I can get my finger in there. There we go. And then let's put this one in. Let's put a magazine in both of these. And then let's do without 12 grams. Let's do a weight comparison. My new fancy scale here. So the new FSC, the XP, is 1 pound, 13.9 ounces. So 1 pound, 14 ounces, we'll say. The original FSC, 1 pound, 10. So this is 4 ounces heavier than the FSC. So 4 ounces, a quarter pound. But we're getting longer barrel, longer body, just a slightly larger pistol setup right there. The grip feels about the same. I would say that the XP grip is definitely a little bit bigger. If I put my hand around there, I can my middle finger and my thumb come together, and I can touch them together right there. On the XP, it doesn't. It is slightly thicker. So to accommodate the gas body and the magazine in there, it is a slightly thicker grip that's on there. And that's probably attributing just slightly to the little bit of a heavier setup. Can't imagine this composite though is that heavy for that little bit of material you're adding on there. Safeties are the same, triggers the same. Like I said, the internals are the same. The regulator, the bolt, the fire mechanism, all the same inside. Just really a difference when it comes to how the magazines work and the capacity. And that's what people want. They want more shots per tank and not be losing gas every time you need to switch out a magazine. So that's what we got going on. Now we're gonna take this outside. We'll run some rounds through it. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show everybody, how to change this out. It's pretty straightforward if you haven't done it. It's the same way you do it for the FSC setup. Just get something that you can use as kind of like a stick. That one's the skinny one. I'm gonna use something slightly thicker. You could use a small screwdriver. You could use a different Allen key. This plate on the bottom right here, it just slides off, but you need to put something in there and kind of pull it to the side to get it to slide off. Once this starts to slide, keep your thumb over the top of it, because when this thing comes all the way off, the spring, this is compressed inside here. This isn't the normal size of it. The spring's gonna wanna come out. So if you just slide that plate off the bottom without thinking about it, this spring is gonna launch out, and potentially the follower, which is down here, which pushes on your paintballs and pushes them up into the marker, is gonna come shooting out with it. So you don't wanna lose that. Once you have this undone, hold on to your follower, pull your spring out, take your other spring, drop it in, compress it down, take your plate, slide it over, and lock it into place. It's very simple to do, and it's marked so you know if it's the First Strike version or not. Now that that's said, let's take it outside and shoot it. Made it outside with our brand new First Strike XP pistol. We're gonna do some shooting just over in our targets over here. We've got 2 magazines of regular round ball and 1 magazine of First Strike round. The First Strike mag does have the First Strike spring installed already in it. So we're gonna take our XP, unscrew the bottom, take our 12 gram CO2 now, put the bottom on, and then go ahead and puncture. So now we're gassed up, ready to go. We're gonna take our first round ball, get back down in there. Put that inside, and then we should be ready to go. Safety is off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. We'll do our next round ball. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Haven't lost any gas because with the new version here, we're not losing gas every time we take the magazine in and out. Take our First Strike, put that in there, and then we'll shoot towards the tree over there. Dang. And that's it. So 18 shots already, plus 19 because I took one extra. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So basically you get 3 mags and maybe a couple shots right there, all at velocity. And we're not losing gas every time we take the magazine in and out. So whether you're shooting round ball or you're shooting First Strike, doesn't matter, you switch between the two, makes it super simple. The brand new XP from First Strike is available at ANSgear.com.